Shalom, shalom, shalom. Welcome, my brothers, my sisters, my family. Welcome to the Inward Man. My name is Symmanayah, and this is the 26th installment. It is a reflection of the things that stir within inside of me. And the subject of this matter is form and function, words and action. Words and action. I am one who will forever seek to proclaim the names Yahuah and Yahusha. And I believe that these messages are addressed to those who will be among the ranks of individuals who will rise as the 144,000 and great multitude, as mentioned in Revelation 7 chapter. I say it often, I'll say it again. It will not happen instantaneously or in an instant. It is a process, and many of us will be surprised at who will be in the ranks for such a time as this. With that said, form and function, words and action, or actions. My brothers and sisters, before I start reading any passages, I want to say this to you. There are many who desire to teach, many who have taken on the mantle of moray or teacher, or pastor, or shepherd, or bishop. There are many who have been elevated by those who would follow them to leader, elevated them to being leader. Many who are undiscerning of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name. They are individuals who may be totally void or partially void of discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha as written in the scriptures. With that said, my brothers and sisters, do not allow people to gang up on you to make you think that you must listen to them and obey them. Do not allow yourself in your research, because you're tired and you're exhausted and you've done so much research and you've seen so many people saying the same thing, that you buy into these teachings that may be indeed wicked. Don't underestimate your ability to discern the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. The Almighty Father draws those that are His. The Almighty Father knows those that are His. The Almighty Father protects and disciplines and refines those that are His. So I say this to you, O Yashar'al, whether you're new in this walk or been in it, it's time to grow in maturity in discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. Form and function, words and actions. Many of us may have heard where it says actions speak louder than words. I am not trying to demean words, but know this, my brothers and sisters. Man has the ability to tamper with words. Man has the ability to interpret groups of words the way they see fit. Thus we have missteps and misinterpretations and miscalculations when it comes to the scriptures. So when you see the eloquence of presentations by the words that are presented, whether they be presented to you using modern Hebrew, which I see many who say they're teaching Hebrew, they're talking about modern Hebrew, or whether they speak in English or another known tongue or unknown tongue. Just because they speak eloquently or academically and it seems contextually right, doesn't make it spiritually correct. So seek, my brothers and sisters, to discern. Each of us are capable of discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. In the still of silence and in our studying, it is not extremely difficult if we would pause and in our prayer sometimes listen to what the Spirit has to say to us. Proverbs 1:23 reads, "Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you." You see here, the Most High will make His words known to us. We will grow to discern what He is saying. He will work in us, through us, one towards another, and through His chosen and obedient leaders. Proverbs 4:20 reads as follows, "My son, attend to my words, incline thy ear unto my sayings." Proverbs 12:6. That was Proverbs 4:20. Proverbs 12:6 reads, "The words of the wicked are to lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. There are times we will speak. There are times when the words from our mouths would be filled with life. Let us, O Yashar'al, realize the things that we must do in order to walk in full obedience. Let us, O Yashar'al, seek to discern the voice. Never give up in discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha. For it is imperative, O Yashar'al, it is imperative that we study, pray, and seek wise counsel, O Yashar'al. Pray, my brothers and sisters, pray that you understand the words that I'm saying to you. Pray that you understand when I'm communicating. If I was communicating a message such as I'm passing words to you, others will know that I will get back with them if they're trying to call me, for instance. Get that? You hear me? Did you hear me? Bye. I was trying to give my wife a hint. She was calling me while I was recording, but that is a situation that can occur. I will not go in and edit this out, my brothers and sisters. But let me continue. Proverbs 29:20. And I'm talking about form and function. Form is the eloquence. Form is the manner in which we deliver a message and we deliver words. Function is what are the actions that follow the words we receive. Thus the title, Form and Function, Words and Actions. And I'm saying words and action, not words in action. Proverbs 29:20 say, have you seen a man hasty in his words? There is more expectancy for a fool than for him. And this does not mean you cannot speak quickly, my brothers and sisters. What this is talking about is a man that is quick to speak, that is hasty, that does not give thought to what the Spirit of Yahuah is saying to him. A man or woman who responding so fast, they don't even pause or give prayer. Believe it or not, if we were walking in a prayerful state of mind, our response can possibly be quick. So let us understand what these words mean, my brothers and sisters. Ecclesiastes 5:3 says, for a dream comes through the greatness of the task, and a fool's voice is known by his many words. Task, words, action. Ephesians 5:6 reads, let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these the wrath of the Almighty One comes upon the sons of disobedience. Notice it says sons of disobedience. You know, the Most High said he will discipline his children. He will refine those that he loves, discipline those that he loves. Hebrews 12th chapter, Revelation 3:19. I mention it often, my brothers and sisters. It's saying there are some brothers who may present empty words, but there are also those who are rebellious. Pray and seek to understand, my brothers and sisters. For many will say, we're not appointed to his wrath because the scriptures say we're not. The scripture is relating to those who are his children, those who are walking in obedience. There will be those who will stumble and fall and may fall in the way of his wrath, not being appointed to such. That's not the intent of the Most High. His intentions is that we worship and obey him, that we grow and set apartness to him. Colossians 2:4 reads, and this I say, so that no one deceive you with enticing words. Enticing words. You've seen it, my brothers and sisters. Individuals who look good, sounds good. Individuals who appear to have taken a lot of time and put a lot of work in their teachings, with PowerPoints and presentations and charts and flipboards. You've seen it, individuals who stand before you speaking eloquently or sounding academically intelligent or sounding as though they are Hebrew scholars, but yet oftentimes they have taken on the ways of the wicked, unknowing that they have adopted a teaching that have gotten off the path years ago. Pray, my brothers and sisters, and seek to discern what the Spirit of the Most High is calling out to you. 1 Corinthians 13:1 says, if I speak with the tongues of men and messengers, but do not have love, I have become a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. I say to you, my brothers and sisters, if people are speaking fragmented, quote unquote, Hebrew and not a phrase, if people are saying they know Hebrew but cannot fluently tell you how to go get a glass of water or how to take steps in one direction or another or how to fluently, why then would they say, I can speak Hebrew? There's a lot of people say, oh yeah, I speak a little Hebrew. And then I would say, well, tell me how to go hop in my car in Hebrew. Tell me how to get a glass of water in Hebrew. Tell me how to feed myself in Hebrew. Tell me how to grab the hand of my brother and sister and embrace them in Hebrew. A word here, a word there, a few words here, a few words there. That's not speaking Hebrew. That's echoing words. And if a person cannot discern or understand these words, what then can those words be to us? How much value can a word be or words be if we do not understand them? I've seen brothers tell me something in what they perceive to be Hebrew, and then they'll tell me what it means, thinking that I do not have the time or the ability to research it. And I'll go research it sometimes just to see are they on track. And I'll find that sometimes they made a mistake. There's been times a person told me, oh yeah, that means this. And I look it up and I come back to them. I say, no, that's not what that means. And they're like, what you get? And I told them everything that I used to research the meaning of the words. And then they went back and they said, oh, I made a mistake. Now, what if I wouldn't have researched it? I would have took their word for it because they sound like they know Hebrew. Even in the modern Hebrew words, my brothers and sisters, there's a degree of subjectivity. The scriptures never told us to chase the Hebrew language down. What the scriptures mention in Zephaniah is that there will come a time where we will return to a pure lip, a pure language. And I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, modern Hebrew is Aramaic influence. Ask anyone who you believe to be a true Hebrew scholar, and they'll tell you modern Hebrew is Aramaic influence. Ask them, is anyone speaking pure Hebrew, non-infected pure Hebrew? And the answer will more than likely be no. The time will come for that, my brothers and sisters. As we enter into end times, we must learn to understand and discern the instructions that the Most High has given us so that we're able to do what is appropriate, what is set apart. There are indeed fruitful questions and there are wicked questions. Let us discern the difference, O Yashar'al. Proverbs 8:17 say, I love those who love me, and those who earnestly seek me do find me. So we can find the Most High. The question is, are we earnestly seeking him? Proverbs 28:5 says, evil men do not understand right ruling, but those who seek Yahuah understand all. You see, this is with the belief that those who seek Yahuah find him and is able to discern his presence, his words. And in that we come to understand how this can be. I'll give you a good example. The scripture that talks about in the last days that the Most High will shorten the days. Are you familiar with it? Let me take a moment to search that out. It talks about a time when the days will be shortened. And I say to you, O Yasharal, I inquired to see what this meant. I sought and prayed. And many among us would say, well, what that means is he's almighty and he stops the clock. Okay, well, no one doubts that that's possible. And I'm referring to Matthew 24th chapter, verse 22. Matthew 24th chapter, verse 22. It says, if those days were not shortened, no flesh would be saved, but for the sake of the chosen one, those days shall be shortened. And I inquired of the Most High, and I believe that the Spirit of the Most High said, if you look at all that I have written before you, all that I have presented before you, we see in the last days there's a lot of destruction. There's a lot of death before the physical return of Yahusha HaMashiach. And in that destruction, man will be forced to move and migrate. Imagine if you was on the west coast of the United States, if you were in California. To move from California to New York, you would lose 3 hours, approximately 3 hours, I believe, if I'm correct, depending on what time of year. And I believe it is 3 hours. But you lose some time. If you go from California to the Promised Land, you may lose 7 hours. Your time has been cut short. Anyone on the Western Hemisphere moving eastward towards the Promised Land will lose time. The days will be shortened. That is the reality of that. There will be forced migrations. The days will be shortened. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. The warning effect, the ripple effects, the shot across the bow is the ring of fire being activated like never before, with more earthquakes and volcanic activity starting to build. Pray, O Yashar'al. There's a lot to say when we talk about form and function. Matthew 6:33 say, but seek first the reign of the Almighty One and his righteousness, and all these matters should be added to you. That was Matthew 6:33. Hebrews 11:6, but without belief, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to the Almighty One has to believe that he is, and he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek them. Keep in mind that John 6:44 clearly states that no man can come to the Father unless you're drawn by him. So we must believe that it is indeed him. And just by our positions alone, those who have grown to come into the truth, those who have awakened to the truth, that happened because of the power and might of the Almighty Father drawing you, drawing me. 1 Timothy 6:3-5 says, anyone teaches differently and does not agree to the sound words, those of our Master Yahusha Messiah, and to the teaching which is according to reverence, he is puffed up, understanding none at all, but is sick about questionings and verbal battles, from which come envy, strife, slander, and wicked suspicion, worthless disputes of men of corrupt minds and deprived of the truth, who think that reverence is a means of gain. Withdraw from such. Those are powerful words. Are there brothers and sisters who are jealous of another because he or she has discerned what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying and they have not? Are there brothers and sisters who want you to reverence them because they have taken on the mantle of moray, or bishop, or apostle, or priest, or prophet, or prophetess? Are there brothers and sisters think that we should recognize them and give them the respect that they have not earned by demonstrating discerning instructions from the Spirit of the Most High? Sure they are. And 1 Timothy 6:3-5 tell us to withdraw from such people. There are brothers who are so solid and confident that they are confidently wrong. They are so puffed up with pride, but they are quick to say to the obedient of Yahuwah that we are puffed up with pride. If we were to stand as a tree planted by the rivers of water, my brothers and sisters, there are those among us who are as some of those of ancient days who rejected the prophets, the servants, the obedient ones of Yahuwah, our Almighty Father. Actions speak louder than words, and actions can be measured by the words of the Scripture and by the living words of the Almighty Father. Remember this, O Yasharal. Matthew 24:4-9 reads, and Yahusha answered, said to them, take heed that no one leads you astray. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. And you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fighting. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. Many people think when they say fightings and reports of fighting, that's just about the wicked ones fighting us. But they're going to be people among Hebrews, among brothers and sisters, among family fighting with one another. Why? Because we may not have learned how to discern the living voice. We may not have learned how function can bring us to a position to overcome form. He goes on to say, for nation shall rise against nation and reign against reign, and there shall be scarcities of food and deadly diseases and earthquakes in places. And all these are the beginning of birth pains. Then they shall deliver you up to affliction and kill you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Goes on, I'm in the 24th chapter of Matthew. Goes on from verse 10 to 14. And then many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. It didn't say may. In this case, it said there will be some led astray. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved. And this good news of the reign shall be proclaimed in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end shall come. Dropping down to the 23rd verse to the 25th verse. If anyone then says to you, look, here is the Messiah, or there, do not believe, for false messiahs and false prophets shall rise, and they shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. See, I have forewarned you. My brothers and sisters, this journey is real. Whether you receive these words as a rant or not, that's between you and the Spirit of the Most High. I must deliver what has been presented before me to an awakening nation. Keep in mind Matthew 23:27. Matthew 23:27. It says, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead men's bones and all uncleanliness. I have seen and come across people who they seem to be pursuers of set apartness, but when you meet them in person, when you get around them and see how they govern themselves, a whole nother ball game. I will not mention names because people grow and people change and people are disciplined. But many of us have probably experienced such. When we meet someone, they seem one way over the internet or over the phone, but when you go in person and see how they live, how they govern themselves, things are a little bit different. So all is not as it appears to be, my brothers and sisters. And we can uncover what is actually going on by asking questions, real live questions dealing with life. Where do you live? How do you live? What foods do you eat? How do you guys interact on a day-to-day basis? How do you deal with the adversities that we face? There are questions that can unlock a person's position, that can unlock where those individuals, where we are. There are questions that can bring you past the words that we say, and you're able to see the actions that go before us. Pray, O Yashar'al, for we have much work, much refinement ahead of us. Keep in mind that, as it say, woe to the Pharisees, scribes and Pharisees, because you're like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead men's bones and all uncleanness. We're not to be afraid of them, and do not be afraid to speak boldly the things that the Most High present before you when we come across such. Matthew 10:26 says, therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed, and whatever is hidden shall be made known. That was Matthew 10:26. Let us keep in mind, O Yasharal, in spite of all the words and all the teachings and all the sounds that we make, we want to know, we want to gain knowledge, we want to grow in wisdom. And to do so, we must be mindful. It would be wise to be mindful of the life in Proverbs 1:7 and 9:10. Proverbs 1:7 say, the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. Proverbs 9:10 say the fear of Yahuah is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the set apart one is understanding. I say to you, O Yashar'al, the day will come when we will hunger and thirst and desire very strongly to find refuge among other brothers and sisters. And if this is what we desire, let us believe and trust that our redemption draws near. I conclude with this last verse, Proverbs 14:26. It reads, in the fear of Yahuah is strong trust. Fear of Yahuah, not what man can do. In the fear of Yahuah is strong trust. And it goes on to say, and his children have a place of refuge. This verse will mean much, much more to many of us as end times ramp up. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, my prayer is that we are growing in good health. We are discovering what it takes to be healthy. We are discovering what it takes to begin to walk in maturity and set apartness and grow in discipline. My prayer, O Yasharal, is that we know that the promises of the Most High will indeed be fulfilled. So until next time, form and function, words and action. Let us not fall into the deceptive traps of those who will try to lure us by bringing many people that may agree upon the same thing. Let us discern, for we can. It is highly probable, it is highly possible for us to discern the voice of the Almighty Father and walk in a set-apart way. And we will see in these end times that power and proof will come. Until next time, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.